I'll give you another example. In America, many of you, there's 72 countries here, but in America, a lot of people see individuals that come from Asia as being superior in science and math. And there's a different mindset in those countries about science and math. And when those people come here, they work incredibly hard, they're incredibly focused, they believe, and the belief structure is they do really well if you're Asian. Now, in our culture, in the past, many times people have been focused on the fact that if you are a man, you do well with math and science, but if you're a woman, it's just not your cup of tea, you're not quite as strong in it. And there's no basis for that whatsoever, but it's a cultural anchor that people have begun to believe in. So here's what's interesting. They took the math part of the SAT test, and they took a group of women at Harvard, and all they did to change the test is change the first question of the test. On half the test, they said, what's your gender? On the other half of the test, they said, what is your nationality? Right? What's your ethnicity? Well, interesting. When they're asked what their sex was, and they're all women, they performed 11% lower. And if they were asked, what is your ethnicity? And they said Asian, they were 11% higher. A 22% difference between the two, and the only difference was the first question presented. Because it primed you either for your higher level of skill based on your conditioning or a lower level of skill based on social conditioning. How many follow? Right? There's a million studies like this. Another interesting one that's really simple is they did an ad where they show the IBM logo and the Apple logo. And they also did this with the commercial. I don't know if you remember the commercial Think Differently that Apple made years ago. So that people watch the commercials. In both cases, afterwards, they were given a creativity test. The people that watched the 30-second Apple commercial versus IBM scored 20% higher consistently across the board, and all they saw was 30 seconds about thinking differently. That is the power of priming. So my point is really simple. If you're going to get the results that you deserve and that you want to prime yourself for success, prime yourself for love, prime yourself for courage, rather than hope that you show up that way based on the triggers of your environment. Does this make sense? And so I prime myself every single day for a minimum of 10 minutes. It's the first thing I do in the morning. And I'd like to show you how I do it and have you do it so you can have a daily discipline. And if you do this every day, if you keep once or twice a year, get yourself to an immersion experience that makes you grow. You get yourself a coach where twice a month, 30 minutes even, you're just staying on target and measuring. And you read 30 minutes a day or hear an audio 30 minutes a day and you start with priming, then this won't be a 3, 6, 12-month thing. This will be a lifetime thing. Does that make sense? So you're not going to get a lifetime results unless you're lucky by one experience, but you can certainly have it if you use this as the blast off, and then you have a daily discipline to keep the momentum going. So how are we going to prime? Well, let me give you a story first, a simple example first with one of my boys. My second youngest son's name is Josh. Love him to death, amazing kid. And Josh came to live with me when he was 5 years old. Remember I told you I was 24, and instantly I got married to a woman who had been married twice before with kids from 2 different husbands, and she wasn't living with her kids. And so I met her, fell in love with her, brought her into my life, and then saw how sad she was without her kids. So I brought her kids away from both the other husbands. They were happy to give them to us, and I adopted them as ours. And so I'm 24, and I got a 17-year-old son, because she was 13 years my senior, an 11-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old, and one on the way. Well, Josh was the 5-year-old. And Josh is just such a sweet, really incredibly great kid. But one of the challenges for Josh was he was afraid to even walk down the driveway to get to the bus. I'm Mr. Fear and the Power ripped it open, and my son can't walk down to the bottom of the street. And so I had to kind of try to figure out how to deal with this, how to figure it all out, and to figure out what I was going to do to try and make this thing happen, to make it change.
We become our standards in many ways. If you are surrounded by B players or average performers, and that is your standard, then your mindset will operate at the standard that is offered to you by the people around you. I mean, we do become our social orbit. And if you are at a standard internally that I want to be a game changer in my field, I want to be BIW, the best there ever was, I want to be the Van Gogh and the Rembrandt of technology or whatever field you play in, then your behavior always matches your internal identity and your inner standards. So your standards are important, your standards for your friendships. Your standards for the quality of the work you do, the standards of your languaging, the standards of the nutrition you put into your body, the standards of your love life, the standards of your mindset, the standards of the way you occur in the world. And so my invitation for you, regardless of what you do, is that you raise your game to a place called world class. And that is all about being a game changer. Now, I should caution you, and I don't like that word because language is so powerful, and caution is a word that really is a little dramatic. But I want to caution you, which is as you leave the herd and the crowd and perhaps the cult of mediocrity and rise to being a game changer, it's a very disruptive act. And you actually threaten the masses of people around you. And that's why every visionary was first ridiculed before they were revered. And I'm sure you've experienced it. You say, I want to take my fitness to a whole new level of world class, or I want to take my craft to a whole new level of world class, or maybe you're raising your game financially and then you share it with those you love or your friends, and maybe your friends are those you love, and they laugh at you. And how many times have we given up on a dream because we were mocked by the people around you? And all I'm suggesting to you is when you get laughed at and ridiculed, and when people don't understand your next level of world class, that just means you've got a great dream, and that just means you're on the path of growth. So be a game changer.
You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. We are not the avatars we create. We are not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams in wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. My soul is not contained within the limits of my body. My body is contained within the limitlessness of my soul. One unified field of nothing, dancing for no particular reason, except maybe to comfort and entertain itself.
So do more. If a person leaves at 6, you leave at 8. If a person makes 100 calls a day, you make 200 calls a day. If somebody practices 3 hours, you practice 5 hours. If somebody practices 6 hours, you practice 8 hours. If someone reads 2 books, you read 4. Just do a little bit more. Do a little bit more. Subscribe to the now mentality. Subscribe to the now mentality. We'll call them tomorrow. We'll call them now. Well, what are we going to wait till tomorrow? Call them right now. What are you talking about? Just call them right now. Do it now mentality. Work ethic is a part of it. Now. Do it now. Not tomorrow. Now. Now. Okay? Procrastinate tomorrow, next day, 3 hours, 5 hours. Let's do it right now. Don't fall for the work smart only concept. 4-hour work week is work smart. I get it. I respect it. Some people like that. Nothing big has ever been built without working very hard. And I'm talking very hard. Very hard. It's Friday night right now while we're shooting this. Everybody's gone in the office. Everyone's going out to dinner. I just got back from Burbank, California. I got a bunch of other travels that's coming up. We're here right now in the office. Why are we doing this? Well, Pat, the next time you're in a moment that you don't really like being in, and it's embarrassing, go a little longer. The next time you're going through pressure type situations where you're being tested, talk to yourself. Actually talk to yourself and say, hey, didn't Ralph Waldo Emerson say the difference between a hero and an average person is that you go 5 minutes longer? I'm going to go 5 minutes longer. Our body can handle a lot of pain that we don't know about. I'm going to push my body to that level. I'm going to push it and test my limits. That's the beautiful part about life.
It is somebody's idea of what is success, isn't it? Don't become a slave to somebody's idea. At least have your own idea. You have no idea of your own. Don't deceive yourself. Every idea, every thought, every emotion, every value that you have is picked up from somewhere and it rules you from within. It rules you from within. Your religion, your society, your culture has trained you to believe that this is it. So the first and foremost success is that you are not a slave to anybody's idea. Success.
I will not be held hostage, waiting on people to open the door for me. I will get up and grind, create my own door, and put myself on because I am a champion. I am hungry, dedicated, fearless, a warrior of God who believes all things are possible to him that believe. I am disciplined. I am committed. I am dedicated, young, rich, and motivated, completely sold out, all in, 120, committed to fulfilling my God-given destiny. Nothing can stop me because I am blessed and unstoppable. And I don't just say these words out of my mouth. I say them from my spirit.